Welcome, everyone, to Let's Take 5, the podcast where we pick a cinema legend and take 5 of their films to highlight their excellence and range. My name is Austin Ligger.
My name's Ray Martindale.
And I'm Leigh Montano.
Oh, Lee's here.
Boom!
Bam! You probably recognize that voice from The Immortals. She is one of the 5 co-hosts who, for over a year now, we have been reviewing the 1001 movies, albums, food, songs, children's books, and TV shows. And Lee's in charge of the album segment.
Yep. And so if you don't like me on there, tough shit.
Don't worry, this will be a shorter episode.
Yeah.
And we are here because we've been highlighting Pixar. And we're now on the 3rd week of our Pixar 5. The previous 2 episodes were about Toy Story and The Incredibles. The next 2 will be about Up and Inside Out. And this week, we are here to cover my personal favorite Pixar film, Wall-E. Lee, are you a fan of this one too?
This is honestly one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, it goes between this and Hot Fuzz on a regular basis, because I absolutely love Wall-E.
It's incredible. And for those who have not seen the film, this is, I still think, one of the craziest elevator pitches for a kid's film ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. It's the script that I noticed as far as the Pixar is concerned, they have 2 really sort of mature scripts here amongst their whole lot, and Wall-E's a really mature script.
It is.
And then followed by Up, which I also think's a very, very mature script. And that's probably the thing that I was taken aback by the most. I mean, striking the balance between what's going to be a kid's movie and what's something that the parents are also going to enjoy, which I think Pixar is... They've made a habit of doing that. But in particular, thematically speaking, these are themes that may go over children's head. Particularly the political nature of the film as well.
And it's the politics is so interesting because every time I've watched it now, and I've probably seen this over a dozen times, and that's notable only because I don't rewatch films enough, unless I'm doing it for a podcast. I guess this is an example of that as well. But
so you mean you watch films, rewatch them all the time?
Yeah, all the time. Never stop. And this is the story of a small garbage robot who is seemingly the only robot left on Earth who's cleaning up the trash because the Earth is now a post-apocalyptic wasteland. And he just keeps every day, exits his little RV, and goes and collects the trash and turns into a little square.
And so cute the entire time.
Yeah, it's wonderfully charming. The whole thing is just the character of Wall-E. He's just so committed to his job.
He is.
It's really cute.
And I've actually found that to be a really powerful theme in the movie because as the film goes on, he meets another robot who's sent to Earth to see if there's any life on the planet, and it's a very Apple-like robot named Eve. And then together they go back to the basically space cruise ship, and the adventure begins. But I kept thinking, what distinguishes Wall-E and Eve more than other robots? There's so many different robots in this movie. I think what kind of makes them special and then others follow suit are robots that are wanting to be good at their job, not just programmed to be good at their job. They're going beyond their requirements to be better, and also find things beyond that, because it's incredible when Eve is first introduced. She's, dropped off in a very dramatic way, but then the first thing she does is she dances. She just kind of floats around the world spinning, because she doesn't really have that kind of space that she does up on the ship. But, the whole thing, she could have stopped at a time during the movie, because the plant keeps being taken and retaken and whatnot, or shipped away. But more than just, this is your directive, this is, something she wants to be good at. And Wall-E has that, and even Mo, the little...
So cute.
Oh, Mo's awesome.
Mo's great. And, that's a beautiful visual of the film where, because, everyone who just wants to... who's born to do their job stays on very strict lines. They are floating on lines that are on the floor. And if you kind of branch out from that, have different opinions, typically that's where Wall-E meets you. Mo gets off the line and is determined to clean up that guy.
It's interesting you said born, because they weren't born. They were manufactured. And I think that's something that is really interesting to me about this film. Or in post-apocalyptic whatever. Now that's something that we've seen a lot. We've seen the world destroyed like 100,000 different times in different ways, but you're always trying to find the semblance of relatable humanity post the apocalypse, to attach your feelings to, or attach something, or find something that you can relate to. Mm-hmm. And in this film, the things that are still maintaining that humanity, or keeping those things that make us earthlings, so to speak, are the robots. They're not the human beings.
It's such a cool evolution, because the technology we have now, we keep making new technology as aids for us to help make an impossible task possible, or even the smallest thing easier. And the evolution here was de-evolution. So the humans have now become babies. They're literally just children.
And giant babies.
Giant, pudgy babies. And now the technology is just so good that they're just constantly being pampered for. And it's amusing. Like, it's not malicious. No one's making them into batteries like the Matrix. It's just, it just kept going to...
it's the most next logical step. Like, what would humans do if we didn't have to worry about jobs or income or anything, and just worried about satisfying our own wants and needs? We would all become giant plushy babies eating cupcakes in a cup.
Yes, that is so gross.
I spend my entire life trying to get that way.
Yeah.
And so far I've not been successful. But yeah, I mean, that's the point. I mean, and it's pulling emphasis from, like, there's Orwellian references here. There's 2001 A Space Odyssey in a big way. But basically, and then from 2001, springing off that sci-fi, like, science fiction, becoming science fact, we're on our phones all the time, and then our phones turns into our computers, and then we're fed, and then by, we're not, or we eat too much and we don't get any exercise or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, it's again, this is a children's movie, right?
Yeah. Wait till next week.
Exactly. I think it's one of the great things that this movie does, though, in one of the many reasons why I love it, is it does so many wonderful visual homages to other great sci-fi things. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really something that is difficult to do well without it being too ham-fisted. Yeah. And I think this movie does it incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean, the HAL 9000 computer is a character in the film.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
but it's never done, like, it's not overbearing. It's like, it doesn't. They don't affect their plot. They don't change the plot to cater to its reference.
Right.
I guess is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, also something that's been amusing to me in the past 5 years is that Sigourney Weaver has just been adopted by science fiction, the entire genre. Now, if you just kind of place her into anything, it is there to be the queen of sci-fi.
It's like, we need a bit part for a female person to play. Sigourney Weaver, you can do it.
Because she just embodies all of it.
All right, so who'd she play?
The computer.
Yeah, she was the lady voice.
Of course she was.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Because that's the same thing at the end of Paul, who's the person behind it all, is Sigourney Weaver. The Cabin in the Woods, same thing. Like, if there is a genre thing, she is the classiest woman in genre.
Yeah, I wish they would adopt her for another good Alien film. But I digress.
Yeah, digress. So, Leigh, what makes this movie stand apart as one of your all-time favorites?
I think the biggest thing that does it for me, and Pixar does this incredibly well in whatever they do, is it tells a story. The first act of this movie has no dialogue from any of the main characters. The most we get is the little robotic Eve from WALL-E, and then, like, directive from Eve, and that's it. Like, we don't have someone sitting down and go, oh man, I wish the humans didn't destroy the world. Like, it's all done through visuals, and it's done so well that it's like, oh yeah, of course this happened. That's how it was supposed to happen.
I really loved rewatching this scene when WALL-E was showing Eve his favorite things.
Oh my god, that's my favorite scene in the entire movie. I love that scene so much.
It's amazing, because, like, I mean, clearly they know they are referencing The Little Mermaid a bit.
Yeah.
Of, like, his knickknacks. But unlike The Little Mermaid, every one of his favorite things is a great insight to him as a character. Like, I never really felt that, like, The Little Mermaid Like,
Yeah, she was just collecting things. Like, oh, I found this thingy. Like, she has 12 dingle hoppers and 13 thingamabobs. She doesn't need any more. She's just collecting them because she wants to collect them.
And WALL-E, like, it's very specific. It's brilliant. It's a wonderful eye, because when he finds that the box with the diamond ring inside, he throws away the diamond ring.
That's one of the better bits of comedy, I think.
It's so good.
In the whole thing. Yeah, no, that was something that really stood out to me as well. Like, you know, these things, these sort of inanimate, insignificant objects to us, the things that we sort of, I don't want to say necessarily take for granted, but because I think the whole movie's kind of about that in one big umbrella. But it was great insight to the character and how he could look at something else and see some other sort of wonder in it that we don't always necessarily understand. Like, I don't know what's so fascinating about the box as opposed to the diamond ring.
Yeah.
But I guess I can understand it in a WALL-E kind of way.
He likes the hinge.
Yeah, exactly. Or something like that, right?
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is. He liked the light bulb before he knew it could light up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's also really cute and endearing, but it's also, like, insight into the character or something.
And perhaps
Something
the
like
strangest example of that is WALL-E is the only person on Earth in this film and in our film that loves Hello Dolly that much.
In any film. I don't even think the people in Hello Dolly liked it that much.
I saw Hello Dolly a couple years ago and thought it was perfectly fine.
I tried watching it and I couldn't.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
But WALL-E loves it.
Yeah.
It's so cute. And that song is used so well.
And I heard an interview with the writer-director where the first question was, why the hell Hello Dolly? He goes, I don't know. I just don't know. It means something that's not The Sound of Music or West Side Story. It's Hello Dolly.
Yeah, and the other thing, there are two things I want to say. When I first saw the trailer for this movie, I had no idea they were going to space.
Oh, really?
Did everyone else, like, was that in the... Like, I remember the dancing robot.
Movie, this movie has completely evaded my memory. Like, I know I lived through the year 2008.
Yeah.
I don't remember this movie at all. I don't remember trailers. I don't remember people talking about it. I saw it a couple years later when it finally got on DVD, because my mom knows that I collect Pixar movies on DVD because they're, like, one of my favorite, what'd you call them? Brain trusts?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. One of my favorite brain trusts of people and creators, and so she gave me WALL-E. I was like, oh yeah, I think I know about this movie.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I had seen it.
I think it was kept kind of secret. Because I remember seeing the trailer. I was probably seeing more movies in theaters in 2008 than probably any other time in
We
my
all
life.
were. Like, it's the Iron Man Dark Knight times.
Yeah, there was so much, like, I was in the theater a lot that year, and I seem to remember the trailer, and I remember him watching the dancing robot, and then her turning around, Eve turning around, shooting at him.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that, and that was kind of the big joke of the trailer, but I remember being surprised when they went to space and
Did they ever use that shot, which is just beautiful Pixar storytelling, of him riding the ship and, like, hitting the
That's
space
in the
rocks?
movie.
Well, it's in the movie, but was that in the trailer? Was that like a
I want to say it is.
I don't
I remember that.
I don't remember. Maybe I just saw a teaser, but I remember thinking. I mean, it is interesting because there are two. The acts are so clearly defined.
They are, yeah.
In the film that way, like you could have a Pixar short of just the first half of the film.
Yeah.
And then,
I wish they would do a series of shorts. And Austin and I have talked about this a million times because I love WALL-E so much. But I wish they would just do a series of shorts of just WALL-E going around Earth, like making his little trash cubes and finding things and playing with things.
Could be the new Curious George. It'd be great.
And then
So great.
The other thing I was going to say that I thought was really interesting about WALL-E, I think helps us sort of, expositorily, that's not a word, but you get it, like fall in love with him and endear ourselves to him, is we are able to tell from the very, very beginning that his task is not completable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it looks... It looks
so depressing.
It looks depressing. It looks impossible. He's literally stacked up Sears Tower high, square blocks of trash, which is his directive. And
I actually wrote a paper for college about the opening of this movie because it does it so well. And it's like the only bit we get about the past of the planet Earth as we see it in the movie is through the little commercials.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah, and the thing is, but it doesn't affect Wally's job performance.
No, he just keeps doing it.
He just keeps doing
And
it.
that's so admirable because the film, my favorite parts about the later half of the film is that once the captain is also now inspired to be the best captain he could be, the best, like, you know, leader of these people he's in charge of, once he finds out, like, about the idea of farming, like, he recognizes that is work and doesn't fully get it because he thinks pizza trees, but, like, he's decided to commit to do more work than just, like, hang out in this room. But then once he sees how fucking horrifying it is on Earth, and that it's not, like, just ready for you to put a seed in it, I like that, like, there is a moment where he decides to commit to it. Like, no, this is our home. This is it. This is what we should do. Yeah, and that's amazing.
It's so, because it sounds so foreign to them and weird to them that they could, like, ridiculous that you would put a seed in the ground, pour water on it, and then food would grow out of the ground. Yeah. Like, that sounds ridiculous, but it also sounds like heaven. Yeah. It sounds unbelievable. It sounds like a miracle, right? And obviously that gets into the not necessarily. I was going to say political. It's not political, but it's like Wall-E is a mature Lorax.
Sure.
You get what I'm kind of going at here?
And it's such a curious thing if this is the recent Lorax movie, is because Wall-E and Eve...
It kind of is.
...aren't interested in saving the Earth.
Yeah.
That's fascinating, because, like, I mean, Eve's arc is all about doing her job as best she can, and then she kind of wants to save Wall-E. So she goes back to the Earth just to get him back together. Like, she's willing to land a cruise ship to help out the one she loves, and that's wonderful. And it's kind of funny that, like, it's almost like an accidental Lorax.
I get that is interesting. The characters are passively living in a world where we as human beings want to flip it back the other way, but that's not necessarily their directive. Hers is to find life and preserve life, but it's not that she cares about life like that. Yeah. Does that make sense, I guess?
No, it does.
Yeah. Everyone cares, because even the villain of this film, which is the 2001-ish computer, they just assume that people will die on that planet. And they're not, like, profiting off them or anything. They just want to keep them safe and keep them babies.
Right.
Because they just assume they'll die otherwise. Everyone in this movie just genuinely cares about the people.
Sure.
It's such a happy movie.
Leigh, were you going to jump in there?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm good.
The one thing that I have had, and this I think will, I don't think this will spiral us out of control or anything, but the thing that Pixar, and I think it has to do with me being just an adult now, maybe that has something to do with it, I just have a lot of trouble not getting bored during Pixar action sequences.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's probably me alone. Like, because I have the same problem with Up. Like the ending sequence, I'm just not into it, and maybe it's because it is so fantastical. It's not like you know, dogs can really pilot planes, for instance, and Up. I don't know what it is, but So there's that section of the movie that's almost solely devoted to Wall-E and Eve escaping, where I do kind of check out a bit.
Okay.
And that's probably just that. It's just that section. But I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, as in to say, do you feel me on that, or is that absolutely crazy? It's probably crazy.
Well, we talked a bit about the action scenes last week with The Incredibles. But I
I checked out there too, though.
Yeah.
But that's because I don't think The Incredibles has a very good villain. And I think we kind of talked about that a little bit too. Like that's part of it. But because I think I'd be more into that because they're superheroes and superheroes break every rule. This is just in general, this can't really happen this way.
Sure. Leigh, what do you think?
I don't know. Like I'm trying to figure it out because I've watched Wall-E a couple million times and I've never really felt bored by the action sequences. Like, I'll give it, there's a little bit when they're on the spaceship where I'm just like, but it's not really in the action sequences. It's more of, but I know what you're...
That's kind of what I'm going at. Maybe not action sequences, maybe just the general miming of it when it gets hectic. Like, when he first arrives on the ship. Like, it picks up whenever you get, like, the island of misfit robots.
100%
because then that adds characterization to it. like that I don't feel like exist when Wally's just getting knocked around off the tracks back and forth. Like, if I mean, I don't want to put a negative spin on the movie because I like the movie quite a bit, but there's a lull there for me in the transition between the first act to the second act.
No, I agree. There's a little bit of a lull there.
I think I find it fun because there's still so much like wit in it. Like even like when Wally first arrives on the ship, the way he keeps hiding from like the robots is really entertaining to me. But it really
keeps like folding up and then put towels on his. It's just so cute.
And, like, the towels on the head was that was hilarious.
But I think to me, like, I always enjoy the Pixar action scenes, but I'm never like in danger in a way that like for Wally, when Wally is accidentally blasted out of the escape pod and like you throw the shoe and then that goes out. That worked for me.
But that's all
character.
Funnel, and that's threaded through a needle of characterization. I care about Wally. I'm concerned about Wally. It's just something.
So there I feel suspense. Like the big action scenes, I think they're always fun, but those don't have the fear that other sequences have. That's
exactly. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. It could have just been me. It is longer for a Pixar film. I think it is like it's pushing at like an hour and 50, which I think's fairly
up
long,
his 90 minutes.
Yeah, so it's 20 minutes longer than that.
Yeah.
Too, but
well, no, Wally's only 98.
Is it? Okay.
It just feels really long, and I think it's because that lull.
You know, I think it does, and also Amazon Prime lied to me.
Okay.
Because I think it said at 148 or something on there.
How dare they?
That's
Wikipedia says 98 minutes.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Island of Misfit Toys, and that was actually a weird thing that I actually really cared about this viewing. I never noticed they're like silly little things, but the more I kept thinking about how like certain robots like want to do good and want to be the best that they can, that's what they're doing as well. Just other people said that they're broken and they can't do the job any well. Now they're just kind of stuck in little prisons.
They're almost doing their job too well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like that massage bot.
Yeah, the massage bot's awesome.
That's great.
Massage bot's great.
I just felt really bad at that. So when they were freed, it was actually like really great. Of like, they've done nothing wrong. You decide that their life is broken, and now they have to like be in timeout forever. I enjoyed their freedom quite a bit.
Yeah, they were fun.
We should talk perhaps about the most controversial part of the movie, which is weirdly not a political part of the movie, but there's live action in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In a movie full of bold choices, this is a very bold choice.
And I think it works.
Yeah.
I did too.
I did too, actually.
And it's
because if you have to, I mean, because it almost exists in a world where this is what humanity looks like now. That's what it used to look like. Yeah. So like it keeps them separate.
Yeah.
And in an even more jarring way that I think actually works for the film. I mean, obviously that was a conscious choice. They decided, are we going to animate these people or are we not? And I think it works because of how the human beings look now. Like, I think I thought it was an interesting choice, but I also think it was the correct one.
Right.
It was also always done through, like, a screen. So it's always, like, the projectors when Wally's going down that road, or, like, through the computer screen or what have you. It's never, like, oh, this live-action person in this computer-animated background. Mm-hmm. So I think that also helps a lot, because we have that very solid divider there.
It also helps that Fred Willard is almost animated himself.
Also true.
He's a Muppet.
Yeah.
I like him. It's such a curious thing. I think that actually helps a lot more with the baby labeling of humanity, because I really don't think it's not a mean-spirited movie. It's not saying that like Americans are fat and wasteful. It's more like a bit of a...
It's really just an anti-Walmart movie, let's be honest.
Yeah, not a huge Walmart. But it just shows them like, because they don't turn into horrible people, they just turn into just babies. And they're ignorant, again, not in a malicious sense. They just don't know beyond their crib, essentially.
And that works, like, that's very well shown when they say, oh, I didn't know we had a pool, or I didn't know we had a jogging track, which are those cute little throwaway lines that I really appreciated.
Those are, because that keeps cropping up. That's kind of an ongoing, I didn't know we had this, I didn't know we had this. You know, sci-fi, it's almost, in order to tell the story you want to tell, I mean, you're going to have to dabble into some, if you actually, like, you want sci-fi without politics, watch Star Wars. But like,
which is still about the end of fascism.
Well, true. But that's why I've almost always said that movie's more of a fantasy, because it's not like we're developing lightsabers, I guess, like we're trying to develop, spaceships or something like that.
Well, technically, Star Wars is a period piece. Because a long time ago, in a galaxy far away.
We'll have to talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought it did enough. Like I didn't think it went. Nowadays when people think there's politics in anything, they flip out. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't know. I think the movie was about Wall-E, and it was a question of setting more than the actual story.
Sure. It does have a warning aspect to it, but it's just a kind of warning to always be better.
All sci-fi has warning in it.
Yes.
That's I mean, it's not like it's new to Wall-E, and I think it probably did bother me in 2008 more. But like watching it now, it didn't bother me.
No, because it's so.
I like the movie a lot more this viewing
Good.
than my original.
Lee, we were very worried because Eric has almost a curse put upon him, and that when we have a guest on the show, that's the one film he doesn't like.
Yeah, and it seems so rude to invite a guest on the show and then talk about how. Thanks for coming on the show. I don't like the movie.
That movie sucks.
Exactly. So, like the first one, Heat was the worst example of that. Or it's usually my least favorite one of the group. But that wasn't the case here. I mean, I liked it. I like this more than Incredibles. So
yeah, I think this is just. It's just a beautiful movie, and
it is like visually beautiful.
Yes,
I watched it. My roommate is a collector, so of course he had this on Blu-ray, so I got to watch it on Blu-ray on his 4K TV. Like, it was absolutely beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I imagine it would be.
This captures something and just wonderful of. We talked earlier about the first act of non-dialogue storytelling. The sequence, I think, right in the middle of the movie when he's rescued from the escape pod and they dance.
It's so cute.
It's stunning how beautiful that is. And I thought they overdid it, but then I changed my mind when they had that narration of what is dancing.
No, I loved it so much.
Loved it. Because it's...
I mean, if it's a little melodramatic, I think that's okay. I mean, you're talking about a movie that is using visual storytelling to tell its story. So, I think that works. I mean...
And it's wonderful because everyone has their goal. Wally's goal is to have someone to hold his hand because he wants a connection with somebody. He isn't like a weird high school movie where they want the first kiss or to get laid kind of thing. Like, he just really wants to have connections with people and have someone that would, hold his hand. And so when he gets these moments of not just with Eve, but with other people on the ship, like he's surrounded by people again. So the only one he had in his life was a cockroach who is immortal, will never die.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, there's a cockroach commentary.
Yeah,
you love cockroach commentary.
Cockroach in a Twinkie.
It's
great.
Oh yeah, and he's got
cute.
He's got the little feelers with cream on them. It's great.
Because the world will end and Twinkies will still survive.
Exactly. You can literally crush them several times over, and they will still be there.
But he's too small; he can't hold his hand. And also, Wall-E is such an endearing character because of just how many times he falls down. This is like, whereas Eve is a very, slick Apple robot, Wall-E is scratched up because everything on the planet has fallen on him. Running away from those
he literally
shopping carts.
Dies in the movie.
Yeah.
And is brought back.
Oh, that was so heartbreaking.
I know.
This is a movie that truly, believes in the nature of souls.
Yeah.
And that it makes it a warmer film for that. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan.
It has to feel... Again, the humanity, it's got to be there. And if we're not finding it from the humans, then we need to find it from the robots. One way or another, that's why we watch movies. So. And
to wrap up, because the final moments, the credit sequence is so beautiful when they now have their new history of them working together to make a better planet.
Mm-hmm. I do watch the credits every time. I was glad that you brought it up, because it's could be its own little short by itself.
Pixar's got great credits.
They do.
In general, but I think, Wall-E's kind of takes the cake, because I like Ups too, but
I
like better.
I like the song so much in Wall-E, the Peter Gabriel song, that I started to hum it at the end of Up, just during the credits. There wasn't a song. I wanted that one again. But that's it for episode 38 about Wall-E. We'll be back next Friday where we're going to talk about Up. as we keep alluding to a couple times. Leigh, where can we find you?
You can find me at the Immortals podcast on the artimmortal.com. Every week it's me, Austin, Pedro, Adam, and Sarah talking about numerous different things because we have to review them because we're cursed to live forever for some nefarious reason that we haven't found out yet.
Yeah, that's just a lot more complicated, this one.
Yeah.
The episode that came out yesterday, we talked about Sex, Lies, and Videotape and Star Wars The Clone Wars. And Leigh, what was the album?
The album was Timeless by Goldie.
So take a listen to that. And Eric, where can we find you?
Find me Constant Diversion. That's my YouTube channel. Currently working on The Last of Us review. It's going to be well over 20 minutes long, so just bear with us. It's coming. We're on like minute 13 of it right now, so we'll get it taken care of. It's coming.
I see pieces. It's great.
Thank you.
Until then, you can also follow us on Twitter at The Immortals Pod, which is shared with the other podcasts on the network, including The Immortals and Ad Absurdum. You can email us at letstake5@theartimmortal.com, and please leave a comment at theartimmortal.com. Tell us what you think of Wall-E and all of the bold decisions it made. Until next week, I'm Austin Luger.
I'm Eric Martindale.
And I'm Leigh Montano.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Weisung, Mere, Ayumanka, Directive, Directive, Ooh. Directive, Classified, Name, Wally. 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 Eve. 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 Eva. Eva. Eve.